There was a lot of night footy vision in those shots, Ed.
Yes, where they played the big games. It's called prime time, Caroline. Yeah. Do you want to get onto that, do you? Let's have a discussion about this. I said before, I think the AFL are doing a lot of things right. I think Gil McLachlan just had a sensational year last year. I think everyone's tired, not only in the AFL but around the place. I think a lot of people have left the game because they're exhausted. Last year was like 10 years for everyone else. You saw the newspaper clipping there about the grand final going back to the daytime. The rationale is let's go back to some of the traditions of the game, keep everybody happy. I think that there's one person who thinks it's a fantastic idea, and that person is Peter V'landys up in Sydney, the NRL chairman. I think he is laughing all the way to the bank.
What, because the AFL's reverting to a day grand final?
Yep, they are, and I'll tell you why. Let's have a look at what was happening up here. Now, I was here. I was in there. It was unbelievable. I actually turned to Gil McLachlan. He said, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, we have no troubles whatsoever going forward about having to argue about a night grand final. Don't forget this was late because of daylight savings. So I would have said that you start at 5 o'clock and get the compromise and get things going. Now, let me show you why. Have a look at the ratings here, if we can put this graphic up. These are the top 5 shows in 2019. State of Origin Game 1, AFL Grand Final. State of Origin Game 2, State of Origin Game 3, or the 3 and 2, and the NRL Grand Final. Have a look at last year. Nearly 1 million more people watched the AFL Grand Final because it was on in prime time. Remembering, all those NRL games are in prime time. It was the highest ever Brisbane audience for a non-Lions game ever. Highest Sydney audience in a non-Sydney grand final in 20 years. Overall up 30%. Now, somewhere down the track, there's going to be somebody, we've seen Amazon spend a fortune on a documentary that's going to 250 countries around the world. We need to make sure that the AFL Grand Final is the #1 show on television if we're going to be able to pay for Tasmania, if we're going to pay for 5 people on the bench and all these sort of things. And I just can't understand
Ed,
because...
if you had a look at the differential between what the NRL are going to get for their broadcast rights next year, the AFL will get 470 million, the NRL's 300 million. All this talk about the AFL don't trumpet that because they want to get money from members and they want all the club supporters to sign
hides its product. But we're spending a fortune in New South Wales and Queensland.
The networks
they're on the harbour, they're on the beach on a Saturday afternoon. You know what? You have a look this Saturday. Flick on the TV. You know what you see? Tarzan movies. I could put the Maguire family home videos on and buy the space.
The networks will tell you the money differential is not that different from a night to a day grand final, and I think it's a bit naughty to use.
I ran a network for a while, Caro. I know how it works.
A Richmond GWS game is hardly, which was all over at quarter time if you weren't sort of invested in the result.
Well, what's the best experience? I know we can talk ratings, we can talk money, but isn't it about the best experience?
But a day grand final is the best experience, like my favourite day of the year. I know you're saying...
What's on tomorrow night?
Christmas Day.
What's on tomorrow night? What's on Friday night? What's on Saturday night? When's the preliminary finals?
And that's what makes it so magic. That's one of the things that makes it so magic.
I like the lead in.
I love the lead into the day grand finals. Nothing better.
I think, Paul, they talk about consult with the AFL.
I know I haven't.
You haven't been one.
All I'm saying was, I've obviously, unfortunately, lost one being to 14, and it's still my favourite ever moment going to it. I know that night, might be spectacular.
Highest ever Melbourne audience was last year.
Even the aftermath of it.
But I think a concern was the quality of the game. But last year... The quality was superb. Yeah. Dustin Martin's goals, the marks, the hits.
Yeah, but Collingwood West Coast was a great grand final too. So I don't think you can talk about...
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
Collingwood West Coast in the finals over in Perth was a great night as well. We play all the big games under lights. Caro, I concede your points, and it's a matter of opinions. But all I'm saying is, when the whips are cracking in the next few years, they come down, and if State of Origin 1, 2, 3, the grand final, and Married at First Sight are ahead of the AFL grand final, it doesn't matter who you are.
Why did the AFL do this, Sarah? Obviously, they didn't really appease a lot of people. I think the concussion sub and the medical sub, hasn't pleased many. But this day grand final has pleased a lot of people. Is that the only reason?
I think Gillan McLachlan really felt, and it was his decision. I mean, the Commission, I think he probably could have persuaded most of them, I'm not sure about all of them, was the view that people wanted to go back to the future, wanted to go back to things that they were used to. They wanted to fall in love with the game again.
I was in President's Meeting, Caro, in 2000 when Essendon and North Melbourne said, we will sue you if we put you on Friday night football. And I remember going around to Ron Evans saying, we'll do it at Collingwood. And it set our club up forever. It set our club up.
Which is a relevant argument, if you don't mind me saying. I mean, the AFL are trying to appease supporters and they want to stick with the tradition at a time when people are desperate, crying out for traditions.
1 million more people watched the grand final in key states in the two biggest markets, two of the top three markets, Queensland and New South Wales, where we're spending a fortune trying to get people to play and watch our game. Makes no sense to me. Caro, I concede your position. We'll take a break, come back with more Footy Classified after this.